Yo. All right. May or may not have someone who's related to me who may try to troll my stream. Well, hey there, 25 Blue Bunny. Well, I totally don't know. I don't know who that is. All right. Anyway, you have a kitty wandering around, but she's out of camera view right now. Yeah, it's like this, but she's not in the frame right now. She's standing behind the camera. Okay, so hey, I had something new to show if you haven't been here yesterday. I can, yeah, I want to run that from the example folder. Look at that. Look, it's a kitty. Being held above me like the sword of Damocles. See, this is an animated GIF. I successfully yesterday got the image preview. This is pulling it with my code. Colors look right to me. I'm happy. So I'm going to clean up the code that I got working yesterday that does that. Also, there's some issues with this, like it doesn't obey the aspect ratio, and we're actually drawing it in a very unperformant way. We're actually using the painter's draw rectangle for every single pixel, where we could just put it all into a texture and have the have a shader draw it. So I'm going to work on that today. Also, this integration class, I don't need it anymore, pretty sure. So I think I only had it because I had wanted a separation between two parts of the application's drawing code. And it really doesn't make sense to have that anyway. And with the new way the eGUI is architected, there's even less of a need for this. So I think I'm just going to collapse this completely. I'm going to remove this. We don't need to assign a name to that if we just return it. You can kind of see how every single function here is just one line anyway, and most of it's just boilerplate, taking the state and borrowing it mutably. And that's only because we wanted to share the instances of this class. So we only had immutable access, which means we needed interior mutability. All this stuff we don't really need. So I think I can just replace calls to this with just state.onWindow event. So that's what I'm going to do. I think what I'm going to do to do that in the right order, I think I'm going to follow all references to this and just drop it, and then follow the errors. All right, so first error, get rid of it. Actually, not just get rid of it, but take what we used to have and add that back to the window. And let's give it a name that reflects the fact that it's from the integration layer. We'll say it's the integration state. Put that in the right place here. And we don't need to put it in a ref cell anymore. That was only because we wanted to have shared access to that integration thing. We already have the window here, so I don't need to copy it here. All right, so this output call will just replace with what output actually has in here, which is this line. Put that here. We don't need to borrow mutably anymore. Called integration state. Not going to help me type this, is it? It will. Had to be patient. So if we just need the platform output, I think then we don't need to say self window. Or no, we do need self window, right? But the output becomes this thing. That goes there. All right, that's one error down. Next error, input. Hey there, Stripe Monkey. All right. input. So I'm getting rid of this class is what I'm doing at the moment. Oh, did I update today? I just don't have a specific goal. That's my lazy today command answer. If I wasn't so lazy, I would actually put in today command what we're doing. I'm still feeling lazy, so I'm not going to touch it. Right, so input goes here. So there's no borrow mutability anymore. This is replaced with integration state. Okay, that means this does need to be mutable, right? Because it's probably saying that the takey GUI input requires mutable access. I think that's fair. So now we're going to demand mutable access. So we don't need this anymore, right? I'm just going to delete this. I'm just going to rename this integration state. All right. And then we're going to end up storing that in the window here. Get rid of the old integration object. Now we only have one error left. So we have feed input event is this guy. So that's what it used to be. Now this is what it is. So there's no self, right? It's just, where are we in? We're in the window controller. Do I need to tell the window to do this? The window controller doesn't have this, does it? Yeah, this is going to be a problem. You'll see in a second. If I just try to reach in there and do that, it probably won't let me, right? Yeah, this is going to be a real problem, right? So that's essentially what I wanted to turn into. Oh, I guess it's not a problem. Take that back. Not a problem. We don't need ref cell or RC anymore. And I should be able to just dump that entire module now. We don't need it anymore. Right, so we did that. That's exactly what I was doing, reincorporating it back into the window class. So I can just delete this one. Move to trash, right? All right, cool. Let's run it again to make sure that it didn't break anything. So cargo build bridge. So again, bridge is a build of my parser that can be pulled into a Lua interpreter so that we can write a Lua script that operates with the parser. And I'm doing that as a matter of convenience because the test I was running, I wanted to hard code a bunch of things, like the fact that we're parsing a GIF file and it's pogslide.gif, and that we're going to fetch the first image out of the second data chunk from the GIF file. So kind of automating what I would have been doing with the graphical user interface. It's selecting the image and then just viewing it. So it's both automation and it's also a way for me to stage this new image viewer while I'm working on it and before I've decided how to integrate it back into the main UI. So I just run it like I'm executing a Lua script, and it does print out a bunch of junk, but ultimately we're going to get this. I guess we still have a debug message for pixel size. I could probably drop that now, right? Yeah, we didn't break anything. That's good. So I spent a long time yesterday just extracting all this boilerplate stuff, and I had the idea after the stream. I'm probably going to end up doing this again at some point. So why go through the pain more than once? Why don't we just extract out the boilerplate as a reusable module? So we're going to separate the boilerplate from the non-boilerplate. And if you don't know what boilerplate means, it's basically the stuff that you'll be doing no matter why you want to have a window on the screen. It's just stuff you have to do. And the non-boilerplate is the specific things that we're doing, which I have here under processy GUI. The specific stuff here was drawing the pixels of the image. So this will go in one direction, and then the rest of this window class is going to go somewhere else. I think the way I want to do it is, because window is the generic name, we'll put the boilerplate stuff there. This being the non-generic stuff, the stuff that's doing an image viewer, we're going to put this in a new module called image viewer. Image viewer. All right. And I kind of want to make this a module that's kind of like the modules I have in other crates that have eGUI custom widgets. So I'll probably, rather than figuring it out again, because I always forget stuff, I'll just look and see how I made those other modules. First, we get it to build again. All right. So maybe the easiest one to look at would be the hex editor. Pretty small. It just has it has a highlight builder helper, but most of it fits into this lib.rs, and it's under it's 635 lines, so moderate size. I just want to see how it's structured. So we have some components of a hex editor, like highlights. Response is all the things that it can emit in the form of feedback to the rest of the program. So probably want that as well in image viewer. But I don't have anything defined yet. I don't need anything. We'll just have an enum ready to go, right? So these functions here are just convenience methods for that enum. Okay, so let's just take this and like select out what we might want. I'm going to rename it image viewer. What might we want out of this? Bitstreams, no. Cache, no, no. Drag state. Are we going to click and drag? Not right away. We can add it back. Error reported, no. Font. At some point, maybe, but not right now. None of this stuff. Highlights. Yeah, actually, I don't think we need any of this stuff. Come to think of it, I think what we want is what we currently have in window that has nothing to do with the boilerplate. So that would be like the pixels to draw, right? I think I put that under the controller. Yeah, this is the stuff that we want to keep, right? So these are the things, except for that, the title is only used when we build the window, right? So the pixels and the size of the image need to be in the state of the viewer, because every time it's told to draw, it's going to need those things. There we go. Okay, back to the hex editor. So we're going to want to have a similar thing where we have some methods of the image viewer. Okay. We'll probably have a new. I think what I'll do here is I'll take from what we currently have in window controller new. I'll just take this stuff. See, why type when you can just copy paste, right? It can be const. There we will make it const. All right, besides new, don't have a font yet, so I don't care about that. I'm looking at the outline. Scroll to at, I don't need any of this. Draw. We're going to want to draw. And it's going to have the same overall structure, right? Okay. And we'll just, right now, we'll just have it do nothing. So I think all you need to do is that, right? Actually, if response doesn't have any variance, how do we use it? Actually, I don't know how we would use it. Maybe we can't return one because no such there has no variance. I want a placeholder there, so what should I do? How about so for now, how about we like have a response that we would return if the user clicked on a pixel. Pixel clicked. And I guess we'd want to know like which one, so like by its coordinates, right? X and Y. Something like that, right? Oh, I just thought of another thing we should put there. This probably has it too. There's a none response, right? In fact, that's what I probably should have started. Because this will default to response none. But I do want to, I'll keep that pixel clicked for now, because I'm going to want that pretty soon anyway. So we'll just leave it in there. All right, the draw. I guess we do want to do something like this where we reserve, where we allocate a main area, because we can then use the response to see if something was clicked. Right now, I think under draw main area, we do something similar to that. Yeah, so in this inner rectangle, we get a response from this area, and we do sense, click, and I don't know why I have drag. Oh, because hex editor you can click and drag, but I'm not going to need the drag yet, right? So some of that. Some of this maybe. I'll worry about the indentation in a sec. Yeah, so ultimately we're going to have to take the position clicked and see kind of see which pixel you actually clicked. Like which pixel it corresponds to, right? So I'll just leave that as something we'll do later. All right. So I think we're just gonna take the available space instead of calculating some kind of canvas area. Okay, here's a decision to make. Do we import sense, or do we just qualify it? I think import is fine because sense, there's not going to be anything else called sense, right? Yeah. I also don't think draw necessarily mutates self, so take that back. Draw, when it's interpreting response, it also might decide to mutate itself, right? Well, no, let's be optimistic. Say it ought to be immutable because it will return a response about what the user did, and then if the app decides what the user did should lead to some state change in the image viewer, then it should come back from on top, not from inside draw. Okay, that's good. I think I need to reboot though. And sudo reboot because I already saw that there was a dead zone. Still had that dead zone bug. I thought updating the guest OS would fix that, but it didn't. Looks like it didn't. Reboot's taking longer than it normally does. Wonder why. Is this going to be a shorter stream because I get stuck with the virtual machine crashing or something? What do I do if it refuses to boot? Maybe while it's rebooting, while it's thinking about it, I will go and pull from the main machine. Yeah, what do I do here? Do I just tell it to restart or something? It just seems to be stuck. Actions, restart. Yes. Okay, we just punted the thing. I don't think that actually did anything. How about shutdown? Wow. It's completely stuck. Stop. Oh, it shut down on its own. Okay, so start up again. Oh no, it's already restarting. I don't know what the hell's going on. As long as it gets back to like a working order within not too much time. Okay, good. Who knows what's going on with virtual machine? Anyway, dead zone is fixed. I can click anywhere I want again. I don't think I need anything else from this control. I just need to now extract out what was specific about window, putting it into the image viewer. So specifically, it was inside of the draw, right? Wait, did I miss it? I don't know where it is. Here it is. Found it. No, it wasn't draw. It was rend. I think it was it render or update process. One of these. This is it. Okay. Right. Okay. So it's this. This is what I actually want to go into image viewer draw. Here. Okay, so it does need something from the parent. Or does it? I don't think we actually do need that. I think instead I use this inner rect size. Right, this. We do need self in front of image height and width though. Same thing here. And instead of colors, it's pixels, right? Rect is imported from eGUI, so is position 2 and vec2. Corner radius, also from eGUI. Okay, cool. I'm going to take the same allows before and just paste them here. Sign loss. I might have a sign loss and I didn't ignore it here. There's no... Oh, because it's signed. Yeah, okay. When it comes from inner rect, it could be signed. I don't know. I guess it's because it's float. There's no such thing as an unsigned float. So we're ignoring sign loss. Yeah, it can't be negative. I think it's okay to ignore sign loss. All right. We don't use draw. We don't use this yet, but we will. Okay. All right, now that that's done, I think I can delete this for a sec, or really replace it with what we were going to want anyway, which is self.imageViewer draw, and it's going to want the UI, and it's going to return a response. So and here's where we're going to need to pull it in to the window impl. I just saw something making me stop and think. Makes me stop and say, it was being tunneled through draw. So shouldn't I instead tunnel in the image viewer? And then import that. And then this is just image viewer. And again, image viewer. So it's not in self, it's just like that. I'm actually thinking that instead of making it tied to that type, that we make this generic over some trait. That way I could reuse this later without too much effort. But first things first. When we draw, we're replacing this effectively, right, with an image viewer. Which we will need to pass in, or no. Here, I think we're going to do the dependency injection, so to speak. So we'll say image viewer equals image viewer new. And then we just replace the self with image viewer. So let's add the ability to query the image viewer for the width. Because that's not too hard, right? Width and height. Self, it returns usize, and it's just self.image width. Same with height. And then to put the, we need to make it public, right? And the width should go down here because we're trying to keep the methods sorted alphabetically. Okay, so back into here. All right, so when we draw, it wants the image viewer, so it's just self.imageViewer. All right, and then we can get rid of a bunch of imports that we don't need anymore. So what I'm trying to do is get window to be just the boilerplate if I can. Height is not used, or it can be const. Same thing with width. Yeah, we don't have pixel clicked yet. That's fine. All right. I'm just scanning to see if there's anything here that's not boilerplate. I think it all is. So for this window class, or window controller class, I should say, it's just there to host the intent is that it's just going to be there to host an eGUI custom widget. It doesn't really need to talk to that widget, right? So I don't need to care about ever getting a proxy to the event loop. I feel like cleaning unused dependencies should be a keybind. That would be nice, but I can delete them. I get a satisfied feeling deleting things that I don't need anymore, so I don't mind having to do it. So there are two different concerns here that's bugging me. One is the Lua stuff, and the other is the graphical stuff. But first, let's delete old code. Okay. Initial position. I wish there was just a way to tell it that I don't care. I only have 50-50 so that it doesn't show up in the top left corner. Let me make sure that this just still builds. Typing ahead. How rude. How rude of me. How rude of me to type ahead a command after it's before it's done with the first command. See, I only did the 50-50 so it doesn't show up way up here at the top left. It shows decently down and to the right. That's right, I was going to get rid of pixel size. Can't do an up arrow to see the previous command if it's still running a command. Instead, it'd be caret left bracket A, which is ANSI code, right? There we go. Cool. So these are the prints I left in there. They're kind of interesting. We can see what graphics library we're talking to, what pixel formats it supports, what presentation formats it supports, alpha modes that it supports, and pixels per point. Oh, by the way, we have a bug right now. I tested this on my MacBook, which has a pixels per point of 2, and it only shows the top left of Pepe. So in the calculations we have where we're converting between physical and logical coordinates, I did not include pixels per point like I should have. I'll need to fix that, and it's going to be hard to test here unless this supports the same kind of keybind. Oh, I panicked because I clicked. It's not yet implemented. Let me, I knew I would hit that. I knew I would hit that. I think we'll just comment this out for now. It was some kind of like when you hit a control or command plus, it increases the zoom factor. I don't remember exactly what it is. Is it this or that or? There we go. That was the key. Yeah, see when I can increase it to 2, that's what happens on my MacBook. Is that no matter how I size it, that's actually not what it does. So this is wrong. So it's not exactly pixels per point, is it? Whoops, what happened? Panicked. Bad pix map parameter. What? How did I get a bad pix map parameter? Failed to focus input context. Who knows? Yeah, this is not reproducing the same problem. On the MacBook, no matter how I sized it, I could only see the top left corner of him. I'm wondering if when I resize, is it doing something different? Yeah, okay. I don't know if I can reproduce the bug with just the zoom thing. It's neat that I could get the zoom thing to work at all, but I don't know. Not showing me the same bug as I saw before. Anyway. Anyway. So there are really 3 classes here that I should make. One is completely boilerplate, and it's this window impl, right? This is all boilerplate stuff. Like, this would be the same no matter what I'm drawing. If I'm, this is the minimum that you need to use eGUI with WGPU and WInit. Except for maybe these. I might be able to get rid of those. That's only used to compute this next draw time, right? And I have like code here on how we would draw at a certain interval. But if it's all through eGUI, right? Then I can just let the control do that. As in the image viewer. The image viewer could tell eGUI that it needs to be redrawn soon. So then maybe I only really need this if I'm doing stuff and I don't go to eGUI to tell it to redraw. I delete this now. Like, what do I use this draw time for other than computing times that I don't need to use? It's what draw returns, right? It does change how we set the flow control on the event loop. See, like, but I don't think it needs to be in the state, does it? Last draw. So we're taking, like, if we get a repaint after from the viewport output, which we get from eGUI, we're adding that to the last draw time. But what is last draw time? Here, this is just to detect if, like, the next draw time is old. Actually, I don't know why I do that. I don't know why that's done. Oh, wait, I think I know why. Because we initialize it to be something, right? We initialize it to be now, but then it's going to be old, and so that's our signal that we need to reset it to the first draw time. Actually, do we even need that? I don't even think we need this at all. Hold on, let me... Well, the only way I would really know is if we did have an animation, so maybe I shouldn't touch it until then. Maybe just leave it for now? Okay, I'm going to leave it for now. It's just these 3 I suspect are not needed. These we definitely need, and these we definitely need. Okay. Anyway, the 3 classes, the window impl is completely boilerplate. Window controller right now has 2 concerns, so we need to split. One concern is the fact that it's in charge. It implements the WInit's application handler in order to open the window. and once it gets a window, it's it does the event handler. No, take that back. When is it resumed? No, it does the event handler. So it's in charge of the run loop, the event loop. And so when resumed is called, it creates the window, and it whenever we draw, it uses the image viewer. So that's one concern. The other one is the fact that it's made in the first place through Lua, and it has this run loop. Problem is that they're coupled in the run loop thing, because the Lua method run loop is the one that creates the event loop in the first place and runs it. So maybe it's really one concern after all. It's the connecting Lua to the it's connecting Lua to the window. I think this is the thing I want to pull out of it, if I can. I think what I want to do is take this out of the window controller and then make the window controller generic. If window controller is generic, then it would go into its own module. What would I call this one? Not window. Well, okay, hold on. Let me back up. From the Lua script, it's called window, which makes sense, right? Or does it? Conceptually, that's what it is. We're making a window on the screen and running its event loop, right? I'm thinking like maybe call it window bridge or something, or window handle or something like that. Window host? Window host might be better. Well, okay, let's make one called window host. See how that feels. Okay, if window host had like, let's just move window controller into it. Well, no, not all of window controller. Let's move the think about this. This argument, right? But I don't have to say this. I could make a window. Yeah. I need to get my thoughts in order. I need 3 separate names. I think window impl is going to become window. What's currently this window controller is going to be like window host. I look at it from this perspective. What if you do something like this? Image viewer equals bridge image viewer. And then we gave it these things. So then I separate into two classes where the image viewer has a Lua bridge as well. And then the window has it is really just a generic. Well, this window would create a generic window host that hosts this. So this has to support some kind of trait then. Okay, I kind of like where that's going. So then I'm separating out this new. Well, this new. Into two things. So then I would have like an image viewer bridge. I hate reusing the word bridge, but maybe that's fine. I'm just going to type it and see how it goes. Maybe host is a better word for it. It's hosting the image viewer into the bridge. Maybe that's a better word for it. So then I'm oh, unnecessary wraps because this is designed to be used at Lua crate. I forgot what that actually does. That would go here. I have to pull it in here though. So image viewer. Import all the things. Okay, this becomes image viewer host. Okay. Oh, Stripe Monkey, you said a long time ago, looks like the aspect ratio is changing. Yeah, that's something I need to fix. We need to like honor the aspect ratio. Okay. The new. Where's the new? Here's the new. No, that's not the new that I want. I want this. I want to pull some stuff out of this part right here. Where's where we apply the color table though? I am lost. I am lost. I'm lost. Here. Oh, here it is. That should be part of it. Oh, it already is. Never mind. Yeah. Yeah, this part. Isn't that what I already had? I guess that's here. I think for this, it really is just wrapping an image viewer, right? Right? Yeah, that's true. We don't use the title, so there is no title. So back in the Lua script, actually the title goes there. So it's just 4 arguments. Just the 4 arguments. We reduce it to 3 by folding the color table with the pixels. Where's the error here? There? Okay, and then it must, this is the important part, it must implement this, it has to implement this. I think. Or does it? Doesn't it just need to implement from Lua? I think it needs to be at least user data, but I don't think we need to actually implement anything in it to carry it. So I think all we really need to do is this and just have empty implementation. That just declares that it is a user data element when held onto from Lua. More private than the item new. Wait, what? Image viewer host is more private than the item image viewer host new. For the type only usable at visibility pub self. Okay, I don't quite understand that, but let me handle this error first. Okay, it's saying that this is private. It's not though. Oh, the type is private. This is private. Public. There we go. That fixes that, right? Okay. Yeah, it's true we're not actually doing anything with the image viewer yet, but we will. We'll get there. So this is true we're not using the response yet. We will. We'll be using it down there. That's true, we're not using that. Okay. Getting there. Separating concerns, right? So the script will first make an image viewer. Then I need to actually have that implement a trait, and then this window is going to be generic. It's going to handle anything that basically this image viewer will implement some class or trait. Implement some trait that the window host is going to have the Lua part of it. Actually, can I just copy from image viewer host to start with into window host and call this select all occurrences and do window host. We're going to have to make that public. Oh, it's called window impl right now? Okay, we'll fix the type in a bit. We need to expose that one. Okay, so the only thing, let's just do it from the Lua side up. It gets the title of the window and then the thing that goes in the window, which is going to have the trait that we're going to need to implement. So there's two arguments. The title, so that's string, and then here's where I'm not quite sure how to pull in the user data, so I'm going to see how I did it in the ingestion. We did it a certain way here. I just did from Lua. I didn't really need to do it that way. I could have just called it bitstream, right? Okay, anyway, I think I could just put the type there, but in my case, it's got to be, does it have to be a concrete type? What if I start with Lua value, and then I use the trait, I have a trait associated method from Lua? Think an arg struct looks nicer than a big tuple? The problem is that the library I'm using, the mlua, it expects a from Lua multi for the arguments, and the only implementations that are tuples. Unless I make my own type that implements from Lua multi. So I could make an argument structure, but then I'd have to implement the from Lua multi trait. Maybe that's not so bad. So I'd have to manually implement at least the from Lua multi myself, I believe. Too much work? Maybe not too much work. It might not be too bad. Because I'm just leveraging the fact that the tuple is implemented for me. So as long as I have any kind of tuple, it automatically unwraps it. Thing is, I didn't really use it that, like Lua value is being lazy, saying I'll take care of getting it from Lua. These two it's doing for me. So ultimately what I want here is something that will be used by the host. So I don't know what to put here yet, but let's just make it Lua value to start with, so it will compile. And this is going to be title and the thing. What's the name for the thing? The thing we're hosting. The role or widget? It's widget, right? Give me some widget, which means I'll probably want to call this thing widget. And let's see if I can let's just define what that is. Widget. Make a module called widget. Let's start with what it needs to have to fit into the Lua thing. Trait widget is coming from Lua, right? Make that public so that it can be exported, and then import this from my own crate. What's the error now? Oh, it's some, okay, so I need to make this, I can't make it generic, that's the problem, right? Got to be concrete, so maybe it needs to be boxed. And I might need to implement from Lua for Dyn widget. For a trait to be Dyn compatible, it needs to allow building a vtable. Why is it not Dyn compatible? Is it because I have to say it's sized? What was it about this to make it? Is it that it's possibly sized? I forgot how this is done. Okay, I guess that's not it. If I just have a trait, right? It's okay with that part. I guess it had to do with the fact that I said it's from Lua. I guess this is not something. Oh, it's because it's sized. That's the problem. Generic methods in a trait can stop working maybe in from Lua. Yeah, it's the from Lua because it's sized. So I guess I have to manually, like, maybe the widget has to be able to return. Thing is, there's the widget and there's the widget host. So maybe the widget host has to be from Lua. Let me think about this. I definitely don't need this stuff. I just need the title. And it's going to be the title on the widget. We just don't know what the widget is. Well, what happened? Oh, I copied this from image viewer. That's why it looks different. I'm like, what happened to the actual window impl new? Here it was. Okay, title, widget. So this one's going to look more like this. Window, right? Yes. And just self. Okay, and then I guess by separating it this way and having the option window, that I'm kind of going down the path of having window host pull in this app handler stuff too. So let's just copy that. Okay, where am I going here? Window host. So I guess what we'll do is we'll make the widget return size. Not size, it's vec, I think. Vec2. So let width and height equal self dot widget dot size. I can't expand a position, can I? If I do a vec 2, is this how you do it? I can't remember. Yes, then it gets, then I can do width and height. Or is it the other way around? I can't remember. Or is it width? Is that how it's done? I can't remember the syntax here. I thought that would define then x and it would define width and height. But I think I'm wrong here. Oh, it does have an F32. I think that's fine, right? Why actually why don't I just have what am I using this width and height for anyway? For logical size. Okay. Let's just convert it to U32. And then it like that. I'll fix that the fudge factor stuff later. Okay, there's some stuff I need from here. Just pulling all this stuff. Actually, why don't I just use everything? Why not just use everything? And then we'll just delete the stuff we don't need. Just stack it there and get rid of the stuff we don't need later. I think I'm pulling too much stuff into window. Yeah, shouldn't this all be in like window impl new or something? I kind of feel like it should be. It's hard for me to do all these things in the right sequence. Yeah, the window info, which is going to be renamed in a bit, doesn't have a new. If it did, it would be here. Size. Event loop. Title. Make this result. OS error? I don't care. All right, that's good. So then here it's really just this last part here. Self window impl equals window new event loop borrow self title, and the size came from self.widget.size, and it's okay. Okay. So why don't I just copy this all into window and let it handle its own stuff. What's that called again? Window event? It does it. Yeah, it does use the event loop, right? Yeah. It doesn't need its own ID. Okay, so then it doesn't need this part. This is now self. Okay, that's looking good. This is what I expect. It's gonna end up holding on to the widget. Right? Didn't I give it the widget? No, I didn't. So maybe I hand it the widget every time it it needs to draw. So yeah. Anyway, it would be self dot. Really, it's if let some window equals self window as mute, then window dot window event loop doesn't need the window ID. Why is that still in there? The wrong thing. What? Oh. Got to fix that name. Confused. I think I didn't name it public. I did not name it public. There we go. Hey there, meme clear bams. How are you? Okay, now it just takes now it just does exactly what I want. I can delete the rest of this, except for we still have to figure out how it gets the widget out. Okay, so this is window host. All right, we're getting there. Now I can delete all the stuff I didn't need. This stuff. This stuff. We only used event loop. Okay, so the window host retains the title and the widget because we need to wait until it's resumed and then we can give it to window new. So I guess I should just give it the entire widget instead of just the size. Then they can hold on to the widget, right? Because, yeah, why not let it deal with that? Because who owns it? Shouldn't we continue to own it even though the window goes away? So then I guess what we'll do is we'll just give it the widget here. Let it borrow the widget. So then here it would get the widget. Well, let's make it the last argument. About to nap, but great to see me stream again. Oh, thank you. Hope you have a great nap. Widget. Widget. I guess that's dine widget, right? Because here's the thing, right? Right now it takes an image viewer, but instead I wanted to erase the type so that we can use this boilerplate for other things. So how does it use image viewer now? It gives it a process GUI, which ends up just telling it to draw. So if the widget had one of these, and I don't think we're going to actually deal with response. We're just going to, let's say the widget's draw will have no response. It has no response. There we go. So we have size and we have draw. Thursday streams about this time next week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday are the normal days, I think, and weekend earlier in the day. This is sort of an extra stream because normally Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday I have World of Warcraft raids around this time. I guess we don't need the from Lua yet. I might need that later though. Keep that for now. Okay. What's wrong with this? Wait, I can't dereference the box to get. The trait box widget implements widget is not satisfied. Required for pass from reference to a box to reference to a widget. Would it I guess would it just be that? How do we like borrow contents of the box? Is it like as ref or something? Yeah, that's what it is. That's weird because I thought just borrowing the box would get it, but I guess box has a special implementation of as ref. All right, so I think we're done with window host. So all of its only concern right now is it connects to Lua. It receives the title of the window and the widget to draw in the window. And when you call run loop, it starts the run loop with itself because it handles the application handler. And all it does is in resumed, it creates the window and it gives the window access to the event loop temporarily, along with the title and the widget's desired size. And then it also handles window event by just saying, if we have a window, give the window event. And that's where it also gets to borrow the widget again. Wondering if this should be as mute because we want to be as flexible as possible, and the widget might want to modify itself, right? So let's allow it draw to optionally mutate itself. I think we're done because that's the only concerns it has. It might have a window. It has a widget that it draws in the window, and it holds on to the title of the window. Okay, then we're done with window host. So window, I need to remove all the Lua concern from it. So I suppose the easiest way is to just delete the mlua imports and see what happens. then we get a bunch of errors, right? Okay, it doesn't have itself anymore. And it doesn't have any of this stuff. Actually, the window controller goes away. I moved that. This all goes away now. Yeah, all this goes away, right? I don't want to delete that and regret it. We have two places where we do create window now, right? The old and the new place. Yeah, so I have it up here. We keep that. This window controller one goes away. Oops, wrong key. And delete. We don't do the new anymore. We do keep those free functions. Okay, so then I have an error here. Right, so here's where we need the self draw. Instead of taking an image viewer, it's gotta take a yeah, the widget. And it's allowed to mutate itself. So it's a widget. Right? And then that self widget. No, it's just widget. Draw the widget. Okay. So we don't actually have an event loop? Why not? I thought we borrowed the event loop in window event. Oh, it's fully qualified. Okay. Yeah. So we've removed the tie to image viewer, which is good. I guess we don't need event. I could have sworn I used event loop, but I guess not. Where's the one error we have? Right. So window is now window host new. Yeah, so this is the problem that we can't, the box.dyn widget doesn't implement from Lua, right? That's probably what it says. So those are all the things that implement from Lua multi and others. Ultimately, it's going to say like, well, it needs to be from Lua or something like that, right? It's sort of buried in there. So if I like temporarily said that this is a Lua value, then the problem right now is moves to here, saying that we can't get the widget. So if I actually just try to say let widget equal widget from Lua, widget.lua, import, ooh, that's a trait. So this is the trick, right? Is what I had to have a concrete type. Actually, what if I just make the trait object? It has to handle it. So then it would just be widget dot from Lua. Is this how you do a free function? So I just go into here and I just make it responsible for it. As an associated type, Lua value. We're gonna have to look and see what that looks like. It's just Lua, okay. Self. So we don't need from Lua trait. We just make the type itself implemented. Not Dyn compatible. Oh, we want it to be boxed. Because that's the whole point is we don't know, so it's gonna be box self. Maybe box Dyn self? Or is it just box self? Expected trait, okay. Yeah, alright. What's the problem still? Oh, right, it's infallible. Actually, then we need to make it fallible, because it might not be the correct type. So it's going to be Lua result. Or result as Lua result. Okay. Ah, still. Why is it not Dyn compatible? Consider turning from Lua into a method by giving it a self. Straining from Lua so it does not apply to trait objects. We're self-sized. What did I do to the trait to make it not Dyn compatible? Okay, we can't do that. Is it like plus self? I feel like I had to say Dyn self, but it's not letting me say that. So what? How do I do this? Do I need to have like a type? Boxed self? No, that it doesn't. It just doesn't like that. Associated types are unstable. Okay. Anyway, see, I'd never done this before. Basically, I want anything that implements widget to implement a from Lua that returns a box Dyn whatever box Dyn widget. Can I just say Dyn widget? Maybe that's what I'm supposed to say here. Why is it not Dyn compatible? It should be. Oh, because there's no this can't be put in. It doesn't take a self, so you can't put it into a dispatch table. So uh so then I have to go about it a different way. If we've already made the widget and we put it into a user data, then really it's like we should just invent a method on that user data that we would call, and it would just give us back the type we expect. What type do we expect? Box Dyn widget, right? How would we get that out? I think I have to implement from Lua for box Dyn widget. That's the only way to do this, right? instead of making the trait implement it. Yeah. So I just have to implement the trait for this in here. From Lua, right? There we go. Now it's happy. It's just we're going to hit this to do, right? So it's going to complain about all the image viewer stuff because we're not actually hooking that in yet. I haven't done that yet. Maybe I'd do that next. I'll figure this out in a little bit. Okay, so we do have some warnings here I can clean up. Okay, yeah. I think these were on where I copied it from and I forgot to copy them. It's like we're going to also ignore the sign here. Sign loss and truncation. We're going to quiet the linter on that. Okay. Right, there is no response. It just draws itself. Okay, this is saying that we're not actually consuming the event. That is correct. We are just borrowing it. Okay. Yes, what can I do for you, Miss Kitty? You gonna come over here? Cat can see you? Come over here? No? No, you're just gonna complain to me from a distance. Yeah, but the cat doesn't want to come over here, so I can't show the cat. Already is. Borrowed, okay. Okay, so now I gotta figure out, how do we get the image viewer in here? So, move cam to cat. It's wired though. If I had a wireless camera and I could just hook it up to a robot that follows the cat around, I would. Okay, I just gotta, there's some things I gotta connect here. Okay, the problem is, how do we recover the type back? Or how do we recover the trait object back? I guess what I do is in here, have to implement from Lua also. I think I see the problem. I never implemented the trait here. That's so let's implement the trait. Okay, so size, we can do that. That is vec to just new self.image width f32 self.image height f32. Yes, loss of precision is expected. Actually, I guess can I do that on an, okay, I can do that on an expression. Okay, and then the draw. Huh, we never used height? Or we just never used draw, okay. I can just do self.draw as widget, right? No. Self.draw. It's like self as image viewer. Right? How do I do this? I guess I have to say image viewer draw, right? Self UI. I can use self, okay. So it'll go to the implementation of draw. And I guess we're dropping the response because when it's hosted as a widget, it doesn't actually use the response. What's this error? I think Rust Analyzer threw a fit. Restart it. I broke its mind with that bad syntax there for a second. All right. I wonder what did call width and height, but that's not calling it before. Guess we don't need it. All right. I'll just get rid of. I'll add that later when we actually have it. Okay, so let me think about this. When new is called, it's going to depend on the implementation of from Lua on that type to recover the actual boxed dyn trait. What is that going to point to? It should point to the oh, I think I know how to do this. No, I don't. Let me think about it some more. Um, this is going to give us an image viewer host. And an image viewer host is really just holding on to the image viewer for us, right? We need to get that into a box, I think. Then maybe we actually don't even need a struct. Maybe this directly returns a boxed dyn widget. Wouldn't that make more sense? Yeah. Then it has to be a user data as well. Okay, it's user data now. Okay, so I don't think I actually need this at all. Don't need that. I think I'm just going to end up doing this. And this is going to return box dyn widget. And we're going to end up doing OK. And box new image viewer, right? Yeah. So I don't need this type at all. And it handles user data. So all it really does is this new does this pre-processing step, makes an image viewer, and then type erases it, puts it into a box, and returns it. As long as we can recover it here. So that's the trick. I think I can do it the same way I did the other types, like bitstream. I can just do this. So if it's a user data, then try to borrow it as ourself and clone. We can clone? Hold on. Is that because this is oh, it has a handle. Self. What's this clone do? Is user data clonable or something? I think so. I forget why we cloned there. To widget. That's not a widget. Oh, Lua error. We can fix that one. Okay, we can't clone. Oh no, we can. The widget has to be cloned. Dyn widget has to be cloned. Why am I cloning? Data ref. Okay, the clone is something that I need to figure out why we were doing that and how it worked here. So what does borrow do? What's a user data ref? Read access to a user data value. Okay. I think I need some help from this. So let me see what that type is. Let value equal that. And if we get that, then it's value got cloned. So just so I can see the type of value. It's a user data ref bitstream. Then we can clone it. Oh, it's the underlying type is clonable. Because this implements clone. We have to implement clone, which means that the what we box has to be clonable. I guess that makes sense because Lua continues to hold on to a reference to it, right? So we need to make the widget. We need to make the widget clonable. It has to be. It has to be internally like reference counted. Okay, I think I think I understand. Either has to be. It has to be clonable in some way. So I guess we would say that this has to be clonable, or do we clone it ourselves? What if I just make that clonable? because it's not dying compatible because it's clonable. What if I say where widget is clonable? Where self clone? Okay, fine. Then I have another idea. We make it box. We make it RC box. Wait, what? Oh. Do I have to make like a widget host? I think that's what I have to do. Yeah, I think I have to do that. So struct widget host. I guess that's going to take the place of image viewer host, right? I think that's what we're going to end up doing. So widget host has a RC widget dyn. That mean we don't have to box it? You might not need to box it because we're just putting it into an RC. As long as the widget has to have, it's going to need to have interior mutability, which means it can't be mutable anymore. Okay, so then if this is implementing it for widget host, drive clone. Okay, cool. We didn't need Lua after all. Is that true? The bitstream didn't need Lua either? No, it didn't. Okay. So then it's widget host that we get, not box. So back in, yeah, I should just follow the errors, right? So that can't be mute self. It's fine. Other errors. Right, so this doesn't return a box-dyn widget anymore. It returns a widget host. Widget host, public. RC new. And then we got to make, I guess, a method of widget host, or I guess we just say widget host. Yes. What's the other error here? Got private fields. Well, what if we just impl into widget host or widget? For, oh, wait a minute. It'd be like from, be the other way around, like, right? From dyn widget or widget host. So this is self rc new value. Cannot be known to compile. But if I do do that then instead. Then I don't need to make the inner thing public. So back to here, it's just image viewer. It should be rc new image viewer into. Is implemented for it. For that trading implementation, expected dyn plus static found image viewer. Also, I have to like erase the type first. Is it because it's static? Let's go back and do it here. And just say from T or widget host where T is widget. And then here I would do like self rc new value. Sized. How long have I been doing Rust? A few years, but I'm not that great in it, as you can tell. Struggling with this stuff. Impl T. It may not live long enough, must be valid for static lifetime. It has to be valid for static lifetime. Why? Because RC requires it, right? Probably requires it somewhere in here. I forget how. I'm just trying to get away from having RC box, but maybe I have no. Maybe I'll just give up. Just do it this way. Box allows it to if we own it, we're sort of moving it out of the lifetime it came from, and now it can live forever, right? If I do it that way, it should work. Hey there, Nightshade dude. Hopefully I don't abandon you in 1.5 years again. Not that I abandoned you, it's just that I had too much going on. This should just be image viewer into, right? Hey, now it works. So this new, we want to make it return a widget host, right? Wait, why is it taking an argument? What? Oh, this is, okay, it gives us a window host, but we should get a widget host. And now this new has to take a widget host. So I think we have to propagate the RC all the way through. Every time you try to learn Rust, you don't force yourself to use it for everything. You end up not really learning it. Here to live vicariously, you guess? Okay. Just remember, I'm nowhere near an expert. I'm gonna screw things up, and I'm gonna do things totally the wrong way. But I'll eventually learn, or I'll learn enough to where I can get things done, or I'll get too frustrated and I'll quit. One thing I like about Rust is that you kind of get the feeling after you've been fighting the compiler for a while, whether you've gone down the wrong path, and then you can, if you start to get frustrated with Rust, start to think, well, I'm probably going down the wrong path. Back up and try it a different way, and it'll probably be better. Oh, there was a trick to get this to work, right? If I implement deref widget or widget host, then you can get automatic dereferencing, right? Then I just say self.0. I didn't take 0 generic arguments. Why is it? Oh, it's just deref. Dyn widget? How about just box dyn widget? Consider borrowing it, sure. That should get me out of the error I had. Oh, I need to have a deref mute. Oh, wait a minute. No, I decided that it has to have interior mutability. This can't take a mutable reference anymore. Draw can't take a mutable reference anymore. Because it's ultimately needs to be shared to make it passable around in Lua. Right? So yeah, we can't have direct mutable reference to it. It has to be like interiorly mutable. Unused import. Okay, yeah, we didn't use that, I guess. Didn't use widget. Okay, so I know I'm missing something. Let me try to think this through. See what I might have missed. Is it that I didn't implement from Lua, or was that? No, I did implement it. So maybe this just works. Let's just try it. Find out what I missed by running it and see it break. Cargo build. Last time you quit was because you convinced yourself you could learn proc macros, whatever the state documentation. Wow, that's really brave and ambitious of you. Proc macros, pin, and async. I think those are the 3 toughest things to learn in Rust, and I would not attempt to understand them fully until like I've circled around those concepts for a long time and gotten familiar with them. Then maybe I go into them. I delved into proc macros a little bit, and I learned enough to shoot myself in the foot. Async I'm a little bit more comfortable with async. Pin, I've watched John Hu's videos a few times, and I thought I understood it, but the problem, like if you don't use the knowledge that you gain, you lose it. And I didn't take notes or anything, so I haven't had to use pin, so I've lost the knowledge of how to use pin. Hey, look, it just worked. Isn't that cool? Yeah, John Hu's a great expert who has made videos that are worth watching. Hey, it's working. All that worked to decouple all my classes, and it paid off. So now I've decoupled everything so that Windows should know nothing about the drawing of the image at all. So this should all just be boilerplate. Leave that print line in there. Yeah, so it delegates to its widget. And all it knows about the widget is it can get its preferred size. Actually, let's just change that to preferred size. You can draw it and you can ask it for its preferred size. So here's where it actually is told to draw. So all that window is, it's a host for drawing a given widget within a frame, within a panel, within a winit window. And that's all it does right now. It handles resize, it handles close, it handles drawing, but that's it. And that's all I really needed to handle for the moment. So we have window, and then we have window host, and its responsibility is to bridge between window, widget, and Lua, right? So you can make a new window by going through window host new, giving it the title and the widget to host. It makes a new one, which just holds on to the widget in the title. And then when you tell it to run loop, it creates an event loop and it runs it with itself. So it'll get called, resume will get called, we'll create a new window. And because we're implementing the application handler, we'll also get the Windows events and we just forward it to the window. So it doesn't care, it doesn't know anything about how the window is created or handled other than that we use an eGUI event loop. So it's coupled with widget, host, window, and Lua, and winit's event loop. So it actually doesn't know anything about eGUI at all, right? It knows about winit, Lua, and our own trait and window host, or window impl. Window impl shouldn't know anything about Lua, so there should be no Lua imports. Yeah, so it's coupled with the widget trait and eGUI and WGPU and winit. That's fine. Widget actually has widget host in it. Should I move that out? I probably should. Make another one for a widget host. So the things that have host are the things that are exposed to Lua, really. So widget really just knows about, is just the trait. And then the Lua concern about it will move to widget host. So I'm going to take all the widget imports and copy them to widget host. We have to, widget host needs to know about widget. Import that. It no longer knows about eGUI because that's the concern of widget. Widget doesn't care about Lua or any of that. It only cares about eGUI. Okay, so fully separated. Widget is just defining the trait, and it's only tied into eGUI because it uses an eGUI size and a UI. So I can even make this even simpler by doing this. Super simple, right? Widget host couples widget with Lua by holding on to a reference counted type erased widget. The type erasing is so that we can have many implementations of widget and not know the concrete type, and RC allows us to host it in Lua because Lua requires us to clone every time we extract it from Lua back into Rust. The host's primary job is to implement from Lua So it takes a Lua value and makes sure it's a user data that the dynamic type information matches widget host, and then makes a clone of it. And it's clonable inherently because it RC is clonable. And we implement deref so that we can, it's a syntactic sugar, so if you have a widget host, you can use it as if you had an RC box-dyn widget. That's all that does. Actually, it's just box, right? So the fact that it's RC is completely hidden from the caller of deref as well, which probably makes sense. Yeah. We implemented the from so that we can do an into in the right place. Oh, and I just lost. I have to reboot now because I have a mouse dead zone again. Anyway, I broke this somehow. Host. Oh, that's why. I moved it. Okay, cool. I need to reboot, but let me, after reboot it, hold on. Send it out of the virtual machine and then reboot. So what I've been doing for the past couple hours is decoupling, separating the concerns of Lua, eGUI, and the actual widget we're working on, which is the image host, because I wanted to reuse the first two in order to make different kinds of things besides the image viewer. So image viewer itself should have no knowledge of Lua. That I should review that right now. So image viewer, all it cares about is that it implements widget trait, and it knows about eGUI. It doesn't have anything about Lua. It just holds on to the pixels to draw, width and height. New just holds on to everything, and it just draws. And it draws by using, right now it uses the eGUI's painter. And that's the next thing I was going to work on is, instead of painting rects, we're going to actually make a texture and have it draw that directly to the screen. So I'll have to, the widget trait will have to be enhanced so that we get access to the WGPU stuff. Yeah, right now it doesn't respond to clicking, but I think we want to eventually have it respond to clicking. That's why I have this response. Right now there's no kind of response, but we're gonna add the ability to click. So that's another thing to do. So but the thing I was double checking here is it's separated from Lua, and then to put it into Lua, you can wrap it into Lua by through the fact that that widget host. So does widget host and image viewer host, can they be folded together? No, widget host is generic. Ultimately, it's generic because it works with any sized widget. And this doesn't even need to be static, does it? Oh, it does need to be static. Basically, it needs to be owned. In order to be put into the box, moved onto the heap, and then made reference candidate. What? I've got a mouse dead zone already. I need to figure out what's doing that. Something's making it so I can't click in this region of the screen. This region of the screen is now unclickable. Oh. Yeah, I can't click here. I don't know why. It's annoying. If I could figure out what I'm doing to make it unclickable, then I wouldn't have to constantly reboot the VM. I think it has something to do with pop-up windows. So this is really misnamed now, isn't it? It's not really hosting the image viewer. It's really a constructor. I should just really just move this directly into the bridge here. Like, I should just put it here. Not there, here. I should have put it here. Or I could rename it like image viewer. It's not new anymore. Really, I should just rename this whole thing. This is not image viewer host. This is like new image viewer or something, or host image viewer. What if I just call it host image viewer? Just do that. And then save that. Image viewer host, I rename it host image viewer. And it just has a free function called host image viewer. And because we know, well, it has to take these arguments, right? So that we keep the way it is. I need to hit save. I don't understand. Why can I not call that? Consider importing it. How come I can't do that? No quick fixes available? Well, it told me what to do here. That's weird. Is it because Rust Analyzer is broken again? No, it's working. It just doesn't want to help me out with that. There. I don't need the crate, do I? Because it's my crate. Or I'm in the lib level. Okay, so anyway, it's just a free function. I don't know if I need that anymore, do I? I do. Unnecessarily wrapped by result. But it's necessary to be used with the crate function. Actually, does it? I could just put a closure here. I can either put a closure that just puts OK, or I can do that. Let me just do that. Okay, I didn't get nearly enough done tonight that I hoped I would. I thought I'd get to the texture stuff, but I ended up getting sidetracked with this separation of concern stuff. We can make an image viewer, and then we can make a window to host the image viewer and run its run loop. Host image viewer makes an image viewer and then wraps it into a widget host. Makes sense to me. It also does this color table collapsing as a convenience thing. Then window host actually makes a instance of window host, and that we have a structure because it needs. It's just a convenience. It needs to be a Lua object because it needs to have a run loop method. And it's also convenient because when we run the app, it has to implement app handler in order to catch these events. So resumed creates the window, and then window event forwards events to the window that we created. By the way, how does user data implement from Lua? Is it just this? In widget host, I had to have it implement, where is it? Here. I had to implement from Lua, and I had to do a clone, right? In order to return a self. Why did I need the from Lua again? Did I? Oh, I did need it. I needed it here. Because a Lua result. I'm missing something here. Why did I? That clone was needed because we're returning a clone of the widget host back out, right? Returning self, and that's required by from Lua. It has to. Self is required. So how did we get away from? How come I didn't have to do that for window host? Is there implementation of from Lua for user data? Let me look at the documentation. Lua. Okay, user data. What traits do you implement? You do implement from Lua. Oh, wait, no, those are just a list of traits. Oh, user data isn't inherently from Lua. Wait a minute, then I don't understand. How did this actually work? Not that one. Oh, the window one. How can we return that to Lua if that doesn't implement from Lua or into Lua to Lua? I know what I should. It's into Lua that we're looking for, right? It's like what are the implementations on foreign types, right? Or blanket implementations, right? Hash map B tree, arrays, hash sets, vectors. Ooh, is that it? That might be it. What's any user data? Handle to an internal Lua user data for any type that implements user data. I can't click the source link. It's a mouse dead zone again. Dang it. Value user data self. Can't click here. Dang it. Messing up again. Let me try to put into words what I'm struggling with right this moment. I made window host. And I made widget host. And I at first tried to make widget host just hold on to a box. And then I had to make it reference counted box because in my implementation of from Lua, I had to do a clone. I think the issue is that to get it back in Rust, it's an owned value, right? If we want to own the widget host in Rust, then we have to clone it. Maybe what I need to do is I need to implement from Lua for a reference to widget host. Then I wouldn't need to clone it. I can just return the reference. Where I used that was, I found out, but it's just commenting this out. I'll comment that out and I will get an error where it's needed. It's needed here because the window host expected an owned widget host. But what if I only needed a reference? I do want to own the widget host. That's why it needs to be reference counted, because I wanted the window host to hold on to it, and I wanted Lua to be able to hold on to it. But do we really own it? If this is holding on to a reference, then we own a reference. So I think if we need to own it, it needs to be reference counted. The way the window host worked, though, we don't actually own it in Rust. It's owned in Lua, right? The Lua user data owns it. We're only borrowing it to call run loop. I think that's that's why. So if we needed to have something else own the window host, then it will also need to be reference counted. But nothing owns the window host other than the Lua script. I think that's the reason. We're only borrowing it. The type of this is a mutable reference to the window host. So we're borrowing it and we can write to it, but we can't own it. That's the difference. We're responsible for its lifetime. Lua is responsible for its lifetime. The Lua script owns window. That's the root reference to window, right? I'm not passing window to anything else, so to own. So it's only owned by Lua and doesn't need to be. There's no from Lua for it. Yeah, okay, but image viewer, the widget host is different because we're giving it to the window, but we're also holding on. So it's owned by two things. We continue to own it in Lua, and we want to also own a clone of it when we call window here. And that's because this wants to own a widget host. Do I need to own it though? Maybe I don't need to own it. What do we use it for? We don't need to own it because in both places we're using an immutable reference. So maybe I can get away with not cloning it if I just have a reference to it. Problem is then it has a lifetime, right? The lifetime of the widget. Or maybe we say that it's static. Let's see if I can do that. So our data escapes. So if I say it's a static reference, chase down the this. Right, because we didn't implement the from Lua for a reference to widget host. So here, I think I just borrow as self and I don't need to clone. Right? How do I convert from a user data ref to a widget host? Do I reborrow? Aha. So there's some lifetime. How does borrow work? User data ref. Okay. We need to keep the borrow alive then, I guess. Can't I just copy the reference? Or clone the reference? No, because it's lifetime. Problem is that this borrow is not valid for static. Do a scoped one. Could take it out. Kind of acts like a ref cell, doesn't it? Well, I guess the answer is I can't because I can't get a static reference. I guess that makes sense because in Lua it could be destroyed at any point, and then we lose the yeah. I think there's no way out of it. We have to use RC. It has to be RC'd because we might give it to something else and then drop the original, and then something else might outlive the drop thing. So yeah, okay, there's no way out of this. So it has to own it. This has to own it. Yeah, okay, it's fine. We'll just live with that. The lesson for me is that anything that we need to share between Lua and Rust or make multiple references to needs to be reference counted because the lifetime needs to be static, essentially. Still works. All right, good. Probably don't need or want the box. I think I need the box to type erase it, don't I? I don't think RC can hold onto a dyn, but maybe I'm wrong. Let's see if I can get rid of the box. If I can get rid of the box, that'd be nice. Target, just dyn widget, right? Create RC to widget. I think I just do that, right? No. There we go. A little bit of magic there. we have a widget host and we need to borrow it. Do I just directly borrow now? Under widget host, expected dyn. So then do I do dref? Reborrow? Yay! Hey, we didn't need the box. Thank you, Boner Pull. You have a fun name, but a great suggestion. Yeah, so the box is redundant because I think RC ends up holding onto it in a cell, doesn't it? It ends up on the stack anyway. I mean, it ends up in the heap anyway, right? Yeah, so we didn't need a box. Good call. All right, I'm going to back that up. Okay, and let me make sure I everything is separated nicely now, right? Close everything, go into bridge. So hosting an image viewer just leverages widget host because widget host implements from T, where T is a widget. Because an image viewer is a widget, image host can package it. So this sneakily packages the image viewer into a widget host and returns it. And because widget host implements from Lua to recover it by making a copy of the reference if it's the correct type, it also decorates it with the user data in when it's held in Lua. That just works. And then in window host, when we make a new one of those, we get that widget host, and then we basically hold on to that reference, which will be a copy of the reference held by Lua. And then it's a user data with a method called run loop. It can start running, which you call resume, and you create a window. And we're already interacting with the widget there to get its size, and then window events are passed on to the window, and it gets a reference to the widget every time a window event happens, so that it can, in the appropriate place for when it draws, it can tell the widget to draw. So it does the boilerplate stuff around it, and right now it gives the widget access to the UI of the widget, to the UI of the host of the widget, and we use that in image viewer to use its painter to draw rectangles. Okay, good. So I think it's all nicely separated now. So in the future, I can, if I wanted to prototype another kind of widget, I would reuse everything but image viewer and just make a new implementation of widget for whatever I want. Then I can, probably the last step would be to take like window and window host and widget host and put them in another crate and make that reusable, right? Let's make a to-do item to remember that. Make window and widget. Window, widget, and their hosts reusable by moving them to another crate. Because until I do that, I am coupling some different concerns. So the bridge couples my lexer and my parser and my ingestion library with the reusable components that are built into it. So I'd like to separate that out because the reusable stuff only really depends right now on W and NIT, WGPU, eGUI, and its integration layers. Bridge itself doesn't directly depend on these anymore. So ultimately, I want Bridge just to depend on ingestion. I think yeah, Futures is also something that the reusable stuff uses. So it should only be ingestion, Lexer, mlua, parser, and then the reusable thing. And then probably I want to move, I need to move image viewer into its own crate as well. Move image viewer to its own crate. Because I want to make that usable by the main GUI. Okay, I'll do that later. What I'd really like to do, I'm running out of time though, is in image viewer, instead of drawing it using rect field, I'd really like to put this into a texture and then just draw it directly. I don't think I have any code right now in this project that deals directly with textures. So this is all that boilerplate. Oh, that's another thing is the this is probably, I could probably all this stuff in GUI could probably be removed and replaced with those reusable stuff as well, right? That's another to-do list item. The host is maybe one crate, and another crate is window and widget. Or, yeah, into other crates. Yeah, okay. But yeah, I don't think I'm actually creating a texture. I do have this texture ID. Okay, I do stuff with textures myself. So take that back. I don't remember doing this though. What's this refinement? Ooh. I end up using a constrained Delaunay triangulation crate. I forgot I did that. Okay, so I used another crate to do a bunch of geometry calculation. But I did end up with making a texture. What is this managed thing? Font data. What? Fill path from shape returns a mesh. Why did I end up using the managed texture 0? Hey, the point of developing an app when you find parts you forgot you implemented. In my case, I do a lot of copy paste, and then I create technical debt for myself where I now have 2 copies of the code where really I needed to extract it out to a common place and use it from the 2 places. I have a hard time doing any more than like one or 2 things at once. And like when you find that you have some code and you need to reuse it somewhere else, you need to do 2 things actually. You need to extract the code to a common place and then and then use it in both the old and the new places. And I have trouble doing that in one step. So what I end up doing a lot of time is, like, I really want the new thing to work, so I just copy paste the code. And then later I'm like, okay, I need to refactor this, so let me make the common thing. Okay, now once I have the common thing working, can I remove the original code and its copy and use the third common thing? And that's usually the path I take. It's not optimal. Optimal would be if I could just extract the code right away and then use it in the new place. I just think I just need more practice. What I don't understand here is, how did this work with managed texture ID 0, which is used for font data? Oh, if you don't want to use a texture, use texture manage 0 and the white UV for UV chord. Is that because this mesh? I draw the fill mesh followed by the path shape. I have a fill color. Fill vertices. This is owned by ePaint. Textured triangle. Maybe I copied this from somewhere else. White UV for the UV chord. Where do I use the UV chord, though? Oh, right here. Okay, so that's why. If it's a solid color, you're not using a texture, you're just using a... Right, that's right. This is exactly what I'm doing. I'm not actually using a texture, so I'm hijacking, or I'm reusing the managed texture. It says I can have my own texture, though. So maybe what I need to do is I need to load the other project where I actually use WGPU directly. Yeah, so yeah, this won't really work for me because this was just kind of leveraging the painter's add. So with painter add, you can do any shape, and shape can take a mesh, and that's what I ended up using, right? Right. If you, yeah. So I ended up leveraging ePaint, and I don't want to have to do that. Or maybe I can. Maybe I can just learn how to do it. Can I like tell the UI to draw like? All right, let's just look at the documentation. Can I, if I can use the UI to just to draw a quad with a texture? Bibs? GUI? UI? Add, can I do like what does add actually work? Add is for widget, but I don't want to add a widget. Is it painter? Maybe I just use, maybe I have to go through the painter. Paints shapes and text a specific region. Yeah, what if I just add a like textured quad? This adds a shape. A shape. So it can be a rect. But it's a filled, it's a solid color fill, not a textured rectangle. I need to like be able to have like a textured rectangle. So maybe mesh is what I need. So I have my own custom texture and then just make a quad mesh. What texture to use in a mesh? Textures are allocated using the texture manager. Okay. So I can allocate a texture from the texture manager. I have to give it an image. I can also do a set to assign a new image later if I want. Okay. How do I get to the texture manager? I'm in ePaint. I don't want to be in ePaint. Back in eGUI. Okay, UI. Well, let's just look texture manager. Nope. Texture. Okay, this context try load texture. That's from oh, that's a really high level one. Texture. What I want is a trait. That's from a URI though. That's like if you're loading it from the web. Okay, I think it's just context load texture. This is for advanced users. Most users will do create UI image or try load texture instead. In order to display image, you must convert it to texture using this function. The function will hand over the image data to the backend, which will upload it to the GPU. Make sure to call it once for each image, not on your main UI call. Call is not immediate safe. Not immediate safe. Okay, maybe we do try load texture instead. Try. Okay, that's the high level one with the URI. So no, actually we do want this one. Why does it say don't call it in your main UI code? When would we call it? I mean, their example, it's in the main GUI code. I don't get it. What does it mean the call is not immediate safe? I don't get it. I'm just assuming that they mean like it's really slow and wasteful because you'll just keep throwing away textures over and over again, and the point is to reuse it, right? Okay, so let's assume I want to use this, and I'm assuming this returns an. Okay, so we want to make a colored image from. This is exactly what I want, right? RGBA unmultiplied. So we'll have to put it into a span of bytes. Right now I have it just a span of U32s. Okay, this is going to be more work than I have time to do. I think I'm going to have to put this off until tomorrow. And I think I'm also going to, I don't know. See, do I use eGUI or do I descend to WGPU since I'm using that anyway? Yeah, I think I'll just decide later. Yeah, I really didn't finish. I didn't finish this yet. Okay. I think I'm just going to end it here. I basically run out of time for today. Yep, and I don't see anyone streaming who haven't rated recently, so I think I'm just gonna leave it to you guys to go move on to another channel, your own choosing. And yeah, thanks for watching. CloudSurf27, Boner Pole, Nightshade Dude, Meme Clear Bams, everyone else, all the lurkers out there, thanks for watching. I should be on tomorrow around the same time. And in the meantime, I'll think about how I actually want to change this, but right now, it's just as it is. This is being drawn using tiny little rectangles, which is very inefficient, and I need to get this into a texture so I can draw it. So I'll think about that, and we'll try again tomorrow night. So, bye.